work that I'm doing, I'm making an appeal to that sit up and pay attention and take notice feeling. So for me, a lot of times I'm referring to heightened attention, which we talk about in scientific terms more as like heightened arousal. You're noticing more, you're ready to respond more to what's going on. And we can get signals on heightened arousal using some of the new wearable technologies that are available. Um, and that's generally how I've been looking at it. So with the wearable devices, what we're seeing is wristband-like technology that's not that different from your smartwatch or your Fitbit device, but this particular one sees how much electricity your skin can conduct at any given moment. And it turns out that there's a pretty strong correlation with more skin conductivity and spikes in skin conductivity when you have heightened arousal. And that kind of goes back to this sort of primitive survival instinct that we have that's evolved in our brains and in our bodies. And so with that, we are getting data about 4 times every second at what is the skin conductivity. And we're coupling that with wearable cameras so that way we can see what is it that these youth who are in these informal learning environments seeing and encountering. And our goal is to try to figure out, well, what sorts of things are you seeing and encountering that lead to these natural spikes where you're willing to spend more time looking at or invest and to attend to. In addition to that data, we have accelerometer data, temperature data, and so it's sort of an all-in-one suite to capture what is more or less arousing across a number of different accepted psychophysiological measures. I think what's different about this is that for a long time, these technologies have only been used in very strict lab settings. You plug it into the USB port, and you have this very specific software that you're using. What's interesting about wearable devices is that we've become untethered from the desk and are able to move around in the world and see, instead of standing on a treadmill and seeing how many steps we've taken there, how much distance we've covered, we can go walk around in our neighborhoods and see how much distance we've covered. And I think that's the big change, is that we've been able to be more mobile. We've been able to move a bit more freely with wearable devices. And so the big change here is that we don't control the stimulus. We don't control the environment so much. We're starting to see more about that in the wild kind of learning experience that happens informally. But the trick is then, well, how do we read that signal and how do we know what it was in that environment, since there's so many possible things that could be happening at any given moment. And that's where the wearable cameras come in, and also a bunch of other triangulation where we have youth self-report, we have survey data, we have our own video data of what's happening in there, so we can do our best as thoughtful analysts to try to pinpoint what activities or what experiences or what features are getting most people to stop what they're doing or to sit up a little higher, not literally speaking, but to just want to attend more to what's happening. And a lot of times, what's key, and we're seeing so far in our data, is the social aspect, the opportunity to do things with their peers, to engage with them playfully as they're working on these activities and projects. Rather than always having a whiz-bang, this is always something new and different, but rather can they turn this into something meaningful where they're connecting with other individuals as they're discovering things.